Welcome back, guys. So February 25th came and went. That was last week, and Nikon was supposed to have some major news, major announcements, and all the other surrounding companies that feed into what Nikon can do right now were supposed to actually make some headlines as well. Nothing really major happened last week. We're a week into it. And although I did spend a lot of time watching some of the videos from CP Plus 2021, where Nikon was supposed to make a splash as far as making announcements maybe about new cameras, new lenses and whatnot, nothing came out. Being all over the internet looking for some news, I wasn't able to find anything. So let's scratch that and focus on what was released at least. So, firmware 1.1 for the second generation of the Nikon Z system. So the Z6II, Z7II, all of those cameras got firmware upgrade for you to capture raw video, better focus. Optimus was on top of it 2 days prior to it, and you can capture ProRes RAW out of the Nikon Z system, the second generation, onto their product. Unfortunately, BlackMagic RAW was also released, but BlackMagic is not accessible for you to record onto the VideoAssist 12G does yet. It will require the VideoAssist 12G to get a whole new firmware upgrade, and that's only to accept what the second generation of the Nikon Z systems can do. Because as of right now, the only generation that can actually produce VRAW videos out of the Z system is Gen 1. If you have the original Z6 or Z7, you are able to record VRAW to the VideoAssist 12G. Unfortunately, like I said, if you have the second generation of the Z6 or Z7, you're not able to record VRAW thus yet. But there's some good news in the horizon at least, and it seems to me, I'm getting some feedback from you guys, and the fact that you can record B-RAW from the original Nikon system. I'm just going to say Gen 1 and Gen 2. Hopefully you guys understand that. Gen 1, Z6, first generation. Gen 2, Z7, Z6, second generation. So I'm not just keeping it at that because I'm getting confused here. The first generation, Gen 1 of the Z cameras, they can record B-RAW and take that to DaVinci Resolve. Now, on the 25th, Resolve also released DaVinci Resolve 17. Some of you guys have mentioned that when you're capturing B-RAW onto the VA12, now you're able to unlock ISO compensation. But again, I'm saying that so much, but I feel like that is necessary for me to say, is the fact that it's only available on certain files. Which files those are, I can't really say. From what I'm hearing, when it gets unlocked, you can only adjust it by 400 ISO. So that's that's 2 stops of light. This is what I'm guessing, perhaps, and don't take my word on this, but this is what I'm guessing on this, is the fact that you are able to capture B-RAW. Let's say you underexpose, and then you're able to get those blacks back a lot easier with the ISO. Or if you overexpose by 2 stops, you're able to gain that back with a highlight compensation. Where if you capture everything right, most likely you do not have that lateral axis. Some files are being unlocked. I'm not sure which ones they are because I'm not able to see with what I capture. I cannot unlock any of my files whatsoever when it comes to the ISO. Whether it's capturing HD 60p, I don't see any difference. Whether it's been capturing 4K 24p, I don't see any difference. Whether it was capturing 4K 30p, I do not see it. It just seems to happen on certain files. So overall, it's great news. So when that firmware comes out for the VA12, it will unlock your Gen 2 camera, as well as most likely there will be a new update when it comes to Premiere. But if they do not release the plugin, you won't be able to access that feature, unfortunately. So that's the only thing I have for Resolve and B-RAW. Unfortunately, guys, that's the bad news. And actually, it is really bad news because Nikon's on the ball, Optimus is on the ball. Yet B-RAW files are not on board yet with the Z6II. I keep on getting confused when it comes to that. The Gen 2 systems of the Nikon Z. See, I keep on getting confused there too. The Nikon Gen 2 systems. I'm serious. I should probably find a new way to say that thing. Gen 2, unfortunately, cannot get that yet. You need to wait for a new firmware upgrade for that to happen. So with the new firmware upgrade that came out for the Gen 2, which is firmware 1.10, you get 2 things. You get better focusing, and now you're able, at least on the Gen 2 Z6, able to capture 4K 60p. Let me remind you though here, and once again, and this goes for everything and everybody, the Gen 2 and the Gen 1 of the Nikon Z can only record 4K 30p. That's it when it comes to external. Even with the new firmware upgrades, You are not able to capture 4K 60p externally. You can only do that internally, and that goes also for log. You will not be able to record log externally at 4K 60p. That's the recording limitations on the Nikon Z2. I'm hoping that Nikon steps up big time really and puts out at least something related, or really, to be honest, I would like it to put up a global shutter camera. They have nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing to lose. They do not have a high cinema line. They don't have to compete with Canon. They do not have to compete with Fuji, Panasonic. They're in a league of their own if you think about it. They're the ones that put a full frame first, and everybody followed on that. A lot of people thinking that they might go out of business. I still think that they're in line to create something really awesome. What it might be, don't know, but when they release it, so will the other people follow. And that's the trend it's been. When the Z came out, they came out with full frame. Nobody had full frame. It's been the trend ever since. So, as you guys can see, this is where that's going. And thank you. And I'll see you guys in the next one.